The day started like any other on Earth. People went about their daily lives, unaware of the looming threat from the stars. In New York, Sarah Johnson sipped her morning coffee, watching the busy streets below her apartment. In Beijing, Lai Wei finished his late-night coding session, stretching as he prepared for bed. In Lagos, Adebayo Okonkwo taught his class about the solar system, not knowing how relevant this knowledge would soon become. As the Earth turned, strange objects appeared in the sky. At first, they were mistaken for meteors or satellites. But as they grew closer, their true nature became clear. Massive ships, unlike anything seen before, entered Earth's atmosphere. Panic spread across the globe as news channels broadcasted the arrival of these alien vessels. The Galactic Empire had come, and they were not here in peace. The first attacks came without warning. Energy beams rained down on major cities, turning skyscrapers to dust and leaving craters where homes once stood. Military bases were the next targets, destroyed before they could mount any significant defense. The world's most powerful weapons seemed useless against the advanced alien technology. In the chaos, world leaders struggled to coordinate a response. Some called for immediate surrender, hoping to save lives. Others demanded a full-scale counterattack, even in the face of overwhelming odds. As debates raged in emergency meetings, the alien invasion continued unchecked. People ran for safety, but there was nowhere to hide. The aliens seemed to be everywhere at once. Their ships hovered over cities, smaller craft zipping between buildings to round up humans. Some fought back with whatever they could find: guns, improvised explosives, even their bare hands. But it was like fighting a tidal wave with a bucket. In the countryside, farmers watched in horror as strange beams swept over their fields, instantly harvesting crops. In the oceans, massive alien machines began extracting resources from the deepest parts of the sea. It was clear the Galactic Empire saw Earth as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. As night fell on the first day of the invasion, the true horror of the situation became clear. Millions were dead or missing. Major cities lay in ruins, and the aliens showed no signs of stopping. In a bunker deep underground, the few remaining world leaders received a transmission. The face of an alien appeared on their screens, its features strange and unsettling. It spoke in perfect English, its voice cold and emotionless. "People of Earth," it said, "your planet now belongs to the Galactic Empire. Resist, and you will be destroyed. Submit, and you may live as our servants. You have one planetary rotation to decide." The leaders looked at each other, fear and despair in their eyes. How could they fight an enemy so powerful? How could they save their people from slavery or extinction? As debates continued in the bunker, ordinary people around the world began to take action. In the ruins of London, a group of survivors began gathering weapons and supplies. In the mountains of Peru, an old radio operator started broadcasting messages of hope and resistance. In a high-tech lab in Tokyo, scientists worked frantically to understand the alien technology from the little data they had gathered. The Galactic Empire might have won the first battle, but humanity was not ready to surrender. As the sun rose on the second day of the invasion, pockets of resistance began to form. People from all walks of life, all countries and cultures, united against a common enemy. They knew the odds were against them, but they were determined to fight. Little did the Galactic Empire know, they had just awakened a force more powerful than they could imagine. Humanity, with its back against the wall, was about to show the universe what it was truly capable of. The invasion had begun, but this was far from the end. It was only the beginning of humanity's greatest challenge, and potentially its finest hour. 2 weeks after the invasion, Earth was a changed planet. The Galactic Empire's ships loomed in the skies, constant reminders of humanity's new reality. But beneath the surface, something was stirring. In the ruins of Chicago, a group of survivors huddled in an old subway tunnel. Among them was Mike Chen, once a computer programmer, now a reluctant leader. "We need to fight back," he said, his voice echoing in the dim light. But how do we fight something so advanced? Across the ocean, in the forests of Germany, Maria Schmidt, a former military engineer, was asking herself the same question. She watched as alien patrols passed by her hidden camp, their weapons unlike anything she had ever seen. An idea began to form in her mind. Meanwhile, in Sydney, Australia, a team of scientists worked in secret. Dr. Amelia Wong, a brilliant physicist, examined a piece of alien technology they had managed to salvage. "If we can understand this," she muttered, "we might have a chance." These separate groups, and many others like them around the world, were the beginnings of the resistance. They communicated using old radios and encrypted messages, sharing information and planning their next moves. The first major breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In a small village in Kenya, a young girl named Akinyi discovered that the aliens' communication systems were affected by a local type of mineral. This information, passed along the resistance network, became the key to their first successful operation. Using Akinyi's discovery, resistance cells around the world began disrupting alien communications. Suddenly, the invaders found themselves struggling to coordinate their actions. It wasn't a big win, but it gave humanity hope. Emboldened by this success, the resistance grew bolder. In Brazil, a group led by former Special Forces soldier Carlos Mendoza managed to hijack an alien supply ship. The technology they captured was a goldmine of information. Dr. Wong and her team worked day and night to understand the alien tech. "It's like nothing we've ever seen," she explained to her colleagues. "But it's not magic, it's science, and we can learn it." As the resistance studied the alien technology, they began to make progress. They learned how to jam the alien sensors, how to hide from their patrols, and even how to use some of their weapons. But the aliens weren't sitting idle. They cracked down hard on any signs of rebellion. Whole cities were destroyed as punishment for resistance activities. Millions more humans were taken as slaves, transported to distant worlds to serve the empire. The resistance faced a difficult choice: strike back and risk more civilian casualties, or wait and potentially lose their chance to fight back. It was Mike Chen who finally made the call. "We fight," he said in a worldwide broadcast to resistance cells, "not just for ourselves, but for every human taken by the Empire. We fight for Earth." The plan was daring. Simultaneous attacks on alien bases around the world, using their own technology against them. It was risky, with a high chance of failure. But it was also humanity's best chance. On a cold night, the attack began. In New York, Maria Schmidt led a team to disable the aliens' main communication hub. In Tokyo, Dr. Wong used a reverse-engineered alien device to shut down their defense systems. And in Cairo, Carlos Mendoza's team infiltrated the aliens' central command center. The battles were fierce. Many brave resistance fighters lost their lives. But for the first time since the invasion, the aliens were on the back foot. Taken by surprise, confused by their malfunctioning tech, they fell back. As dawn broke, the resistance had control of key alien facilities around the world. They had captured more advanced technology, freed thousands of human prisoners, and dealt the Galactic Empire its first real defeat. The news spread like wildfire. Humanity had won its first victory. People emerged from hiding, cheering in the streets. The resistance leaders knew this was just the beginning of a long war, but they had proven something crucial: humanity could fight back. In the aftermath of the attack, as resistance members celebrated their victory, Mike Chen addressed his team. "Today, we showed them what humans can do," he said, his eyes shining with determination. "Tomorrow, we take the fight to the stars." The Galactic Empire had awakened a force they never expected. Humanity was rising, and the universe would never be the same. 3 months had passed since the Resistance's first major victory. The Galactic Empire was reeling, but far from defeated. They had called for reinforcements, and new alien ships arrived daily. The war for Earth had entered a new phase. In a hidden lab beneath the ruins of MIT, Dr. Amelia Wong stood before a strange device. It looked like a mix of human and alien technology. "This is it," she said to her team. "Our secret weapon." The device was a modified version of the aliens' energy weapons, but instead of destroying, it could absorb and redirect energy. It was powerful, but untested in battle. Meanwhile, in the Amazon rainforest, Carlos Mendoza was training a new group of fighters. They weren't soldiers, but ordinary people. Teachers, farmers, students. "The aliens think they know war," Carlos told them. "We'll show them what it means to fight for your home." Across the world, Maria Schmidt was coordinating a global network of hackers. They had cracked parts of the alien code and were causing chaos in the invaders' systems. "Every glitch, every crashed ship brings us closer to victory," Maria said, her fingers flying over a keyboard. The resistance was growing stronger, but so was the Empire's resolve to crush it. They launched a new offensive, targeting suspected resistance bases. Cities burned, and millions more were taken as slaves. In the Resistance's main command center, deep under the Rockies, Mike Chen received the reports with a heavy heart. "We're running out of time," he told the other leaders. "We need to use Dr. Wong's device now, ready or not." The plan was risky. They would lure the Empire's main fleet to a single location and unleash the device. If it worked, they could take out a significant portion of the alien forces in one blow. If it failed, Earth would lose its best defenders. The bait was a fake transmission suggesting that the Resistance had discovered the location of a powerful alien artifact. As expected, the Empire took the bait. Their ships gathered over the plains of Kansas, ready to crush the Resistance once and for all. But the Resistance was ready. Hidden anti-aircraft guns, salvaged from military bases and enhanced with alien tech, opened fire. Squadrons of fighters, piloted by the brave men and women Carlos had trained, took to the skies. The battle was fierce. Alien ships fell from the sky, but so did human fighters. The planes burned with crashed vessels and energy weapon fire. It seemed like the Resistance might be overwhelmed. Then, at the critical moment, Dr. Wong activated her device. A massive pulse of energy shot into the sky, enveloping the alien fleet. For a moment, everything went silent. Suddenly, the alien ships began to fall. Their energy weapons had been turned against them, overloading their systems. The sky rained debris as ship after ship crashed to the ground. The Resistance fighters cheered, but the battle wasn't over. A group of alien ground troops, led by a high-ranking commander, had survived. They launched a desperate attack on the Resistance's position. Carlos and his team met them head-on. The fight was brutal, hand-to-hand combat mixed with high-tech weapons. Carlos found himself face-to-face with the alien commander. In a fierce duel, Carlos managed to overpower the alien, using a mixture of Earth martial arts and the new fighting techniques he had developed. As the alien commander fell, the remaining invaders lost heart. They retreated, leaving the field to the humans. For the first time, the Galactic Empire had suffered a major defeat. The news spread quickly. Humanity had won a decisive victory. Resistance cells worldwide launched coordinated attacks, driving the aliens back on all fronts. The invaders were in full retreat. In the command center, Mike Chen watched the reports come in with a mixture of joy and disbelief. "We did it," he said softly. "We really did it." But amidst the celebration, Dr. Wong spoke up. "This isn't the end," she warned. "The Empire will be back, and they'll be angry. We need to prepare." Mike nodded grimly. "You're right," he said. "This was a battle, but the war is far from over. It's time to take the fight to them." As the sun set on the battlefield, the leaders of the Resistance began planning their next move. They had proven that humanity could stand up to the Galactic Empire. Now they would show the universe that Earth was not a planet to be trifled with. The turning point had come. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting to win. 6 months after the Battle of Kansas, Earth was a hive of activity. The Galactic Empire had retreated to the edges of the solar system, giving humanity a much-needed breather. But everyone knew they would return. The question was, would Earth be ready? In a vast underground facility beneath the Himalayas, Dr. Amelia Wong stood before a gleaming spaceship. It was unlike anything humans had built before. "This," she said to the gathered leaders, "is our ticket to the stars." The ship, named Phoenix, was a hybrid of human ingenuity and alien technology. It could travel faster than light, had shields that could withstand meteor impacts, and weapons capable of destroying small moons. It was humanity's first true interstellar vessel. Meanwhile, in orbit around Earth, Maria Schmidt floated in the newly constructed space station, Sentinel. Screens around her showed a network of satellites, each equipped with advanced sensors and weapons. With this, she explained to Mike Chen via hologram, "We'll see them coming from light years away." On the ground, Carlos Mendoza was overseeing the training of a new kind of soldier. In a high-tech facility, men and women practiced with powered exoskeletons and energy weapons. "The next time they come," Carlos said, watching a trainee lift a car with ease, "we'll be more than ready." But the biggest breakthrough came from an unexpected source. In a small lab in Nigeria, a young scientist named Oluwaseyi Adelaja had made a startling discovery. She had found a way to manipulate the very fabric of space-time. When Dr. Wong heard about Oluwaseyi's discovery, she immediately flew to Nigeria. After days of intense discussion and experimentation, they emerged with something revolutionary: plans for a device that could create controlled wormholes. The implications were enormous. With this technology, humanity could travel anywhere in the galaxy almost instantly. They could outmaneuver the Empire, strike at their core worlds, or evacuate Earth if needed. As news of these advancements spread, a new feeling swept across Earth: hope. For the first time since the invasion, people dared to believe they might not just survive, but thrive. In cities around the world, rebuilt with a mix of human and alien tech, skyscrapers reached higher than ever before. Vehicles zipped through the air, no longer bound by roads. Hospitals boasted medical technology that could cure diseases once thought incurable. But not everyone was comfortable with these rapid changes. Some feared that in embracing alien tech, humanity might lose what made it unique. Debates raged in governments and on street corners about how far was too far. Mike Chen addressed these concerns in a global broadcast. "We're not becoming like them," he said, his face serious. "We're becoming a better version of ourselves. We're taking their technology and improving it, making it our own. That's what humans do. We adapt, we innovate, we overcome." His words resonated with many, but the debate continued. It was a sign that despite everything, humanity hadn't lost its diversity of thought. As the day of the Phoenix's first test flight approached, excitement built. The ship represented humanity's future among the stars. Dr. Wong would lead the mission, with a crew of the Earth's finest. On launch day, millions watched as the Phoenix rose from its underground hangar. It hovered for a moment, its sleek form gleaming in the sunlight, then shot into the sky faster than any human-made object before it. In orbit, Maria and her team at Sentinel Station tracked the Phoenix's progress. "They've cleared the atmosphere," she reported, preparing for light speed test. There was a tense moment of silence. Then a cheer erupted in the control room. The Phoenix had successfully jumped to light speed and back. Humanity was now a spacefaring civilization. But even as they celebrated, alerts blared across Sentinel screens. The long-range sensors had picked up something. The Galactic Empire's fleet was returning, and it was larger than ever. Mike Chen's voice came over the calm but urgent. "This is it, people. The real test begins now. Let's show them what humanity can do." As the alien fleet approached, Earth prepared for battle. But this time, they weren't fighting just to survive. They were fighting for their place among the stars. The technological leap had been made. Now, It was time to use it. The Galactic Empire's massive fleet filled Earth's skies once again. But this time, humanity was ready. As the alien ships approached, they were met with a surprise. A swarm of small, fast ships suddenly appeared around them. These were Earth's new defense fleet, led by the Phoenix. Dr. Wong's voice crackled over the comms. All ships, engage. The battle that followed was unlike anything the universe had ever seen. Human ships danced between the larger alien vessels, their advanced shields deflecting energy blasts. From the ground, massive cannons fired, their shots guided by Maria's satellite network. In orbit, Mike Chen commanded the operation from Sentinel Station. Group A, target their flagship, he ordered. Group B, protect our cities. The alien commander, expecting an easy victory, was shocked. These were not the primitive humans they had first encountered. This was a force to be reckoned with. As the battle raged, Oluwase activated her wormhole device. Suddenly, human ships were appearing and disappearing across the battlefield, striking the aliens from impossible angles. Carlos, leading a team of exosuit-wearing soldiers, boarded one of the alien ships. They fought their way to the bridge, capturing vital intelligence and taking control of the vessel. After hours of intense fighting, the impossible happened. The Galactic Empire retreated. For the first time in its long history, it had been decisively defeated. But Earth's leaders knew this was just the beginning. In a secret meeting, they made a bold decision. "We can't wait for them to return," Mike said. "We need to take the fight to them." And so, Operation Starfall was born. Earth would launch a counter-invasion of the Galactic Empire's territories. The Phoenix, now joined by a fleet of similar ships, set off into deep space. Dr. Wong, as the fleet's admiral, gave a stirring speech before they left. "We go not just for Earth, but for all the world suffering under the Empire's rule." Their first target was a small Empire outpost on a distant moon. The human fleet appeared suddenly, thanks to Oluwase's wormhole technology. The outpost fell quickly, barely having time to send a distress signal. From there, they moved on to larger targets. Each victory brought new allies, other species who had been oppressed by the Empire for centuries. They looked at humans with a mixture of awe and hope. One of these allies was Zix, a tall, multi-armed being from a heavy gravity world. "We thought no one could stand against the Empire," Zix told Carlos. "You humans have shown us it's possible." As news of the human victories spread, more and more worlds rose up against their imperial oppressors. The Empire, for the first time, found itself fighting wars on multiple fronts. Back on Earth, Maria coordinated the complex logistics of a multi-planet war. Resources, troops, and information flowed through the wormhole network she managed. But the war wasn't without its costs. Many brave humans and allies fell in battle. Each loss was felt deeply, a reminder of the high stakes they were fighting for. In a particularly fierce battle over an Empire core world, the Phoenix was badly damaged. Dr. Wong managed to crash land on the planet's surface. For tense hours, Earth waited for news of her fate. It was Carlos and his team who finally rescued her, fighting through waves of Empire troops. When they returned her to safety, the entire fleet cheered. As the counter-invasion progressed, the true nature of the Empire became clear. It was a regime built on fear and oppression, squeezing the life out of countless worlds to fuel its war machine. This realization only strengthened humanity's resolve. They weren't just fighting for Earth anymore. They were fighting for freedom across the galaxy. In a bold move, Mike Chen sent a message to all Empire-controlled worlds. "Join us," he said, "in building the galaxy where all species are free and equal." The response was overwhelming. Rebellions erupted on hundreds of worlds. The Empire's grip on the galaxy was slipping. But the Empire was far from defeated. As humanity and its allies pushed closer to the imperial capital, the Emperor himself prepared for a final desperate stand. The stage was set for the greatest battle the galaxy had ever seen. Humanity, once on the brink of enslavement, now stood ready to reshape the course of galactic history. As the human fleet prepared for the final push, Dr. Wong addressed her crew. "Whatever happens next," she said, "the universe will remember that when the Galactic Empire came to conquer Earth, they found instead the seeds of their own destruction. The counter-invasion had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again." The war had raged across the galaxy for 2 years. Humanity and its allies had pushed the Galactic Empire back to its core systems. Now they stood at the threshold of the Empire's capital world, Imperius Prime. In the command center of the flagship Vengeance, Mike Chen studied the holographic map of the planet. "This is it," he said to the assembled leaders. "The final push." Dr. Wong, her face bearing new scars from countless battles, nodded grimly. "The Emperor has called for peace talks," she reported. "He's offering to recognize Earth's independence if we withdraw." A tense silence fell over the room. After years of fighting, the offer of peace was tempting. But Carlos, his cybernetic arm a reminder of sacrifices made, spoke up, "And leave the rest of the galaxy under their boot. No deal." Maria, her eyes tired from endless strategy sessions, agreed. "We didn't come this far to compromise. It's time to end this, once and for all." The decision was unanimous. Earth would accept nothing less than the complete dismantling of the Galactic Empire. As the human fleet prepared for the final assault, the Emperor made one last desperate move. He activated an ancient superweapon, threatening to destroy entire star systems if Earth didn't back down. But humanity had faced extinction before and refused to bow to threats. Instead, they launched a daring plan. While the main fleet engaged the Empire's defenses, a small team led by Carlos would infiltrate the superweapon. Their mission? To turn it against the Empire itself. The battle for Imperius Prime was fierce. Human ships, joined by allies from 100 worlds, clashed with the Empire's remaining forces. The sky burned with energy weapons and nuclear fire. On the planet's surface, Dr. Wong led the ground assault. Her forces, a mix of human soldiers and alien allies, fought street by street towards the Imperial Palace. Meanwhile, Carlos and his team, using Oluwaseyi's wormhole technology, appeared inside the superweapon. They fought their way through waves of elite guards, racing against time. In orbit, Mike coordinated the complex battle. "All units," his voice rang out across the comms, "push forward. No mercy, no surrender. Today we end this." As the human forces advanced, the Emperor made a final offer. He would surrender himself if Earth would spare the Empire's structure. "Think of the stability we provide," his message pleaded. "Without us, the galaxy will fall into chaos." Mike's response was brief and clear. "We'll take our chances with freedom." In the heart of the superweapon, Carlos reached the main control room. With seconds to spare, he rerouted its power, turning its destructive force back on the Empire's own fleets. The effect was devastating. In a flash of blinding light, the majority of the Empire's remaining ships were vaporized. The path to victory was clear. As human forces stormed the Imperial Palace, the Emperor attempted to flee, but his escape ship was intercepted by none other than the Phoenix, piloted by Dr. Wong herself. "This is for Earth," she said as she disabled the ship's engines with surgical precision. The capture of the Emperor marked the end of the war. As news spread across the galaxy, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. The Galactic Empire, which had stood for millennia, had fallen to a species it had once sought to enslave. In the aftermath, Earth faced a new challenge: how to dismantle the Empire without becoming oppressors themselves. It was a delicate balance, but one that humanity was determined to get right. Mike addressed the galaxy in a historic broadcast. "We did not fight this war to replace one empire with another," he declared. "We fought for freedom, not just for humans, but for all sentient beings. The age of empires is over. Let the age of galactic cooperation begin." As the dust settled, the enormity of what humanity had achieved began to sink in. In just a few short years, they had gone from a single isolated planet to the leading force in the galaxy. But with great power came great responsibility. Earth now had to prove it could lead better than it had fought. The real work was just beginning. As the leaders of Earth's forces gathered to plan the future, Dr. Wong summed up the feelings of many. We came to the stars seeking revenge. We found a galaxy in need of liberation. Now we must become not just warriors, but builders of a better future. The Galactic Empire had faced humanity's wrath. It had offered no mercy, and humanity had given none. But in victory, Earth now had the chance to show the galaxy a better way. The era of no mercy was over. The era of rebuilding was about to begin. 5 years had passed since the fall of the Galactic Empire. The galaxy was a very different place now, and at its center was Earth, not as a new empire, but as the heart of a sprawling, diverse galactic federation. In the Grand Assembly Hall on Mars, representatives from thousands of worlds gathered. The air buzzed with a mix of languages and the hum of translation devices. At the podium stood Mike Chen, now serving as the first president of the Galactic Federation. Friends, allies, fellow sentients, Mike began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. 5 years ago, we stood united against tyranny. Today, we stand united in peace. The applause was thunderous, a cacophony of hands, tentacles, and other appendages from across the galaxy. As Mike continued his speech, the scene shifted to various locations across the new galactic order. On a distant world once stripped bare by the Empire, Dr. Amelia Wong oversaw a massive restoration project. Alongside local species, human scientists worked to bring life back to the ravaged planet. "This is why we fought," Dr. Wong said to a young alien assistant, "not just to destroy, but to rebuild." In deep space, Maria Schmidt commanded the Sentinel, now the flagship of a peacekeeping fleet. Their mission was not conquest, but protection, safeguarding developing worlds and maintaining peace. As she looked out at the stars, Maria reflected on how far they'd come. From defending a single planet to protecting a galaxy, she mused. Back on Earth, in the sprawling city of New Jakarta, Carlos Mendoza taught at the Galactic Military Academy. His students were a mix of humans and aliens, all learning to work together. The key to peace, he told them, is understanding. We must learn from each other, not fear our differences. Meanwhile, Oluwase Adelaja had become a pivotal figure in galactic science. Her wormhole technology had revolutionized travel and communication. At a lab in Nigeria, she worked with a team of multi-species scientists on the next breakthrough. "The Empire hoarded knowledge," she said. "We share it freely." But the new galactic order wasn't without its challenges. Some former Empire worlds resisted the changes, clinging to old prejudices. Pirates and warlords tried to carve out their own territories in the power vacuum left by the Empire's fall. The Federation faced these challenges head-on. Instead of resorting to the Empire's tactics of fear and oppression, they used diplomacy, economic aid, and as a last resort, the precise application of military power. One of the biggest changes was the treatment of artificial intelligences. Under the Empire, AIs had been slaves. The Federation recognized them as sentient beings with full rights. It was a controversial decision, but one that Earth's leaders stood firmly behind. As the Galactic Assembly continued, the scene returned to Mars. Mike was concluding his speech. "We've faced our trial by fire," he said. "We've proven that diversity is not a weakness, but our greatest strength. The galaxy is vast, and there will always be new challenges. But together, united in our differences, there's nothing we cannot overcome." The assembly erupted in cheers. Among the attendees, a journalist from a distant world turned to his human colleague. "I must admit," the alien said, his translating device conveying a tone of awe, "when your people first defeated the Empire, I thought you'd simply replace them. But this is something new." The human journalist smiled. "That's the thing about us humans," she replied. "We're full of surprises. As the assembly dispersed, Mike met with his old friends, Amelia, Maria, Carlos, and Oluwaseyi. They stood on a balcony, looking out at the terraformed Martian landscape. "Did you ever imagine this?" Carlos asked, gesturing at the thriving alien city before them. "When we were fighting for survival back on Earth." Amelia shook her head. "Never. But that's the beauty of it. We didn't just save ourselves. We changed the whole galaxy. And our work's not done," Maria added. "There's so much more out there to explore, to learn. That's what makes it exciting." Oluwaseyi chimed in, her eyes sparkling with the same curiosity that had led to her groundbreaking discoveries. Mike looked at his friends, then back at the horizon. "Whatever comes next," he said, "we'll face it together. Not just as humans, but as part of something greater." As the twin moons of Mars rose in the sky, the five friends raised a toast. To Earth, to their alien allies, to the memory of those lost in the war, and to the bright future that lay ahead. The Galactic Empire had faced humanity's wrath. In its place, a new galactic order had risen, one of cooperation, diversity, and hope. The stars, once a source of fear, now beckoned with endless possibilities.